Hey everybody, Neon here, and this is a guide for the Kalphite Queen 2014 EOC RuneScape 3. I just want to be clear before we start this guide that this is a guide for the Kalphite Queen, not the exiled Kalphite Queen that is in the King Kalphite Hive. So this is the regular Kalphite Hive, that's where she's located, and even though the strategies are exactly the same for both, I'm just going to be showing the regular Kalphite Queen today. First, let's get started on what you absolutely need to kill the Kalphite Queen. In your inventory, if this is your first time going, you need 2 ropes. This is an absolute must because if you don't have the 2 ropes, you're not even going to be able to access the boss at all. The second most important thing that you need to have is an armor switch and, a combat type switch. First, you're going to be having melee gear on, and that's what you're going to want to take with you on your body. Melee gear can be just about anything. Barros are better, I'd say. I take bandos because that's what I have, but if you just have Barros armor, that's great too, and make sure to take a Slayer helmet if it is your Slayer task. Then in your inventory you need either a range or a mage switch. I picked mage because I have 99 magic, but if you would like to use range, that's fine too. I recommend taking a 2-hand so you don't have to take up an extra space, but you could take a 1-hand and a shield or an orb or what have you if you want to take something else. Then I recommend a superset. I have super attack and strength and a super mage. You're going to want to use protection prayers, so you definitely need to have 45 plus prayer. It's not 100% necessary. I'm sure that you could kill it without protection prayers, but it makes it a whole heck of a lot easier. So for that reason I have 2 super restore flasks. You'll be surprised how much prayer you do use because it's kind of hard to hit the Kalphite Queen. If you are low level, you're probably going to want to take more. Take another flask or take a couple just regular potion 4-dose potions if that's all you have. If you have an adrenaline potion, I recommend to take one too. It speeds up the kills just a bit, but if you don't, it is definitely not a requirement whatsoever. The third most important thing you could probably take is a tortoise, a terror bird, or a yak if you have that. I just have a tortoise and that's fine. You're going to want to fill up your tortoise or terror bird with food. I just chose sharkies, but if you want to use rocktails, that's great too. I don't think it's worth it though. Now let's talk about getting there. The Kalphite Hive is right here. It is in the northwestern part of the desert. If you just have lodestones unlocked, the best way to get there is to teleport to the Al-Kharid Lodestone. I don't know if that's how you say it, sorry if it's not. Run south through the Shanty Pass and then run west. It's pretty fast that way. Even faster though is if you use the fairy ring code BIQ, and that'll take you right next to the Kalphite Hive, and that's the method I'm going to be using. Alternatively, you can also use the bandit camp. I'm going to be using the fairy rings to get there, but if you don't have the fairy rings unlocked, that's totally fine. Just use lodestones. With the map, it's pretty easy to get there, not hard to find at all. The fairy ring code is BIQ, and it'll take you right next to the hive. Once you're in the desert, you'll see this red, maroon, brown thing jutting out, and if this is your first time, this is when you're going to want to use your rope on the tunnel entrance, and that will go ahead and attach a rope just like this, which I don't need to do because I've done this before. You're going to want to go ahead and climb down then once you've attached the rope, and you're going to see these kind of extensive tunnels. You're going to want to run to the east, and as you run east in your mini-map, you're going to see this black dot over here. Go ahead and just click over there, and then that is the spot that you're actually going to enter the Kalphite Queen Hive. So you're just going to want to go ahead and let your player run through there. As you can see, that is a pretty extensive run to go, but once you're there, you're going to see 2 guardians. You can go ahead and kill those if you'd like to get your adrenaline up, but you don't need to. At this point, if this is your first time going, you're going to want to use your rope on the tunnel entrance again. This is your second rope, and this will allow you to go into the Kalphite Queen Hive. Then you're going to want to climb down the entrance, and you're going to see 2 guardians start to attack you. I recommend that you run north and then west, which is where the Kalphite Queen is located, and this makes sure that these 2 get caught on this side, and then they won't bother you anymore. You're going to see the Kalphite Queen in the northwest corner, and you're going to want to make sure that your prayer is up and that you're using Protect from Magic in the first phase. This first phase is 40,000 life points, which seems like a lot, but you'll get through it pretty fast if you're using pots. I recommend that you always keep your life points above 4,000, not because the Kalphite Queen is going to hit you for 2 or 3k and KO you, but as you can see here, she hits pretty accurately and pretty often. She'll use this magic and hit me with magic, and then right after that hit me with range. So even though she's not hitting me large numbers of hit points at a time, she is hitting me pretty often. I like to use the Meteorite ability, but really whatever suits you. You can use Berserk, which will increase the amount of damage you do to her, but lower your defense if you're confident. If not, just try and get your adrenaline back up, and I like to use this Assault ability. It brings down her life points pretty nice, and will take her out. Keep in mind, the Kalphite Queen does have a pretty high defense, and you'll see me hitting lots of no hits here. And it actually surprised me how accurate she is, because when I go to Bandos with melee or mage, especially mage because I'm 99, I'm used to hitting pretty often and pretty hard. But if that's not happening with you, don't worry about it. Just keep going, keep your life points up, don't be afraid to eat a bunch. I do all the time. I'm totally a safer. There is no shame in that at all. Also, make sure you're keeping an eye on your prayer. I had a problem with that. Then, once you kill her first phase, she's going to see her emerging here. This is the signal that she's on to her second phase. You're going to want to switch to your mage or your range. Turn on Protect from Range or mage if you're in range gear. Or, I'm sorry, melee if you're in range gear. And then go ahead and start killing her. In this phase, I like to use this defensive ability, Debilitate. If it hits, which it usually does, it reduces her, it didn't this time, but it reduces her attacks by 50%. So if she were going to hit you for 300, instead she's only going to hit you, you know, I think for 250 or, you know, something lower. Then you're going to want to use this ability, Metamorphosis, or Sunshine if you have it. And just go ahead and keep using your abilities. If you have an Adrenaline Flask, pot up. This will allow you to use Asphyxiate first, which will hit her for some pretty good damage, and then right after that, Wild Magic, which is super good and takes her out of this last phase very, very quickly. Now we're getting down to these final life points. We're going to finish up the kill. Sometimes these last couple life points can be frustrating. Frustratingly slow, that is. I had 700 life points left on her with 99 mage, and I just could not hit her the other day I was here. It was so frustrating. Now you're going to see 2 drops on the floor. For whatever reason, this time she only dropped 1. That's never happened to me before. I guess she can only drop 1 if she so chooses, but usually she drops 2 at a time. There'll be 1 in one spot and then 1 in the other. I think the reason I didn't get 2 drops this time is usually it's a charm drop. The first drop is her actual drop, which in this case is nature runes, and then the other drop is a charm drop. She usually drops 6 charms at a time. Crimson or blues are the most common that I get, which is pretty good. I think for this boss, it's comparable to, I think, the QBD, but I don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure. When you're done with the kill, go ahead and put your melee gear back on, pot up if you like. Don't forget to restore your prayer again, and just stand in this spot and wait for her to respawn. She does take quite a while compared to some other bosses to respawn, so if you want a world hop you can, but in my opinion it's not really worth it. Just wait it out. If you're using about the same gear with about the same stats as I have, which is 80 plus melee and then 99 defense and 99 mage, I usually get 3 kills in inventory with a little food left over. If you have better gear, better stats, you're going to get probably 4 kills, and if you're a lower level with not as good gear, you're probably going to get 2 kills, maybe 3 depending on, you know, how lucky you are. As a final note, I just want to mention that if you are using a War Tortoise, I didn't do it in this kill, but you can take Tessuto Scrolls with you, and that's the War Tortoise's special ability, and what it acts like is a defense potion, and it'll boost your defense, I think, by about 7 or 8 levels. Don't quote me on that, but it's something around that. And if you have low defense, or you just don't want to take as much damage, who wouldn't, you can take those along with you instead of one of your Sharkies, and it'll, you know, give you a little bit better defense against her attacks. Well, this is it for the guide. If you have any questions, please comment below. Comment, like, subscribe if you like. If not, I totally get it. Hope everyone enjoyed this guide, and if you have any questions, once again, go ahead and ask me in the comments below. Thanks so much, and good luck.